Hi, I'm Glenyce Hughes, and I get to travel first class around this beautiful planet of ours, facilitating people in creating their dreams come true. And I am so incredibly grateful. I so love it. Now, I have been playing with the tools from Access Consciousness since January of 2011. Now that's many years. Many years at this point. And I feel like in the last week, I just got one of the tools that you would possibly learn in the Access Bars class, which is the very first class in Access Consciousness. Oh my goodness. And you know what? You get it when you get it. So there is a tool where every morning you wake up and you say, who am I today and what grand and glorious adventures can I have? Every day, ask that. And basically what it does is it invites you out of the energy of you are who you were yesterday. Because you're not. None of us are the same as we were. Heck, none of us are the same as we were a minute ago, let alone yesterday. And in this last week, I have really been looking at the stories. The stories, it doesn't matter what the stories are about. It could be money. It could be, in my case, I run a business. It could be my business stories. It could be my, relationship stories, my marriage, like all the crazy. And all of those stories started before some of them yesterday, some of them, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. I mean, my goodness. But I'm not that person anymore. So whose stories are they? Because they're not mine. Like this me who's sitting here right now in this 10 seconds doesn't have that story from childhood, doesn't have that story from last week, doesn't even have that story from yesterday. This me doesn't have that story. And yet, how often have I played with that story, whatever that story is, as though it is my story? It's not my story. Me right now we're in a whole new 10 seconds. Even the story that I had the 10 seconds ago, this me doesn't have that story anymore. So I know that might seem really silly or basic or whatever, but for me, this is huge. Like, I mean, mind-blowing huge. Because what I've been doing this week, ever since I've had this like aha moment, is whenever I go to a story of, oh, I can't because, or this is going to be hard, or that won't work, or like whatever the story is, I stop myself and say, but that's not me. Like that story, that experience I had, that proof that I had that doesn't work or I can't or whatever, that's actually not me anymore. So what would I like to choose? Who am I right now? Who am I today and what grand and glorious adventures can I have? Who am I right now? I'm not that story. That story was then, and I've done a great job, a very great job of bringing those stories with me. Retelling them over and over in my own head, in my own way, sometimes even out loud. Those stories are not me. Not this me. So who am I right now? And what grand and glorious adventures would I like to have? I get it now. I get it. Now I could go, you know what? I'm going to bring that story with me. I'm going to tell it a few more times. I'm going to distract myself with it. I'm going to prove myself. I can do that. Totally. There's nothing wrong with that. Or I can acknowledge that that's not me. And in that acknowledgement that that's not who I be right now, I have another choice. I can choose something else. I can choose something greater. Who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventures can I have? Honestly, guys, this has changed everything for me. And I am so freaking excited for what is possible now. Because it just, for me, it in a blink of an eye, it changes everything. So, might I suggest this brand new tool to me for you to check out and use? Who are you today? And what grand and glorious adventures would you like to choose? So let me know how it works for you. Let me know how you use it, how it changes things. I am just so incredibly excited for what is actually possible now. So thank you so much, and I look forward to chatting with you next week.